Jasmy holders, we are getting potentially some bad news brewing on the horizon here. We're seeing the Jasmy chart break down through a pretty key level that we would have hoped to have held. We have recently dropped down to a recent-ish level of support though, so we'll just have to see kind of what happens here next, though this is frankly a little bit of a bearish development. So I want to talk a little bit about that today, go over a couple of the different things that we have happening within the crypto market right now and as they relate specifically to Jasmy, though I did just want to talk about kind of some things going on with Janction and Jasmy and HARA and everybody, just to see kind of the status of what's been going on right now. So I want to go through a couple of those updates first, and then we'll get into the recent price action and movement and all this type of stuff that I've been talking about, because I think it makes more sense to kind of frame why we're at where we're at anyway. So let's start out going on and taking a look at the Janction account. So we can see here on the Janction account, we're all familiar with the account. The thing that I find quite shocking and a little bit stressful here is the fact that you could see the last post that Janction made was on July 19th. That is what, 2.5 months from now? I mean, that's quite a while, right? So I mean, it's really crazy to me that an allegedly active project is waiting this long to actually make any sort of post. And so that does give me a little bit of concern of whether they even are an active project anymore. We have some information coming out from HARA, so I do believe that they are still an active project. It's quite interesting and perplexing to me. I just don't understand why you would be using, or you wouldn't be using this account that you've built up for disseminating official information to disseminate official information, right? It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And here you'll be able to see something similar as well on the Jasmy account. Similarly, even more followers on the Jasmy account, and the last post here is even a month earlier at the end of June. So we are now officially over 3 months since we've seen anything from the Jasmy account, which I really do not think is a good look at all. I actually think that this frankly is quite frustrating. I don't really understand why why there's just no updates. Like, even if there's just there's so many things to update. Look at basically any active kind of crypto account in the space. Like, there's plenty of things to post about. I find it quite perplexing that there's just zero updates coming at all. That to me is pretty unusual. So I will say though, if we were looking at both of these accounts, I would say that this is an inactive, dead project and that they've moved on to something else. However, you can see though that if we look at HARA's account, he is still posting several different things. This one is from about 10 days ago, so still not super recent, but we can see that this one they actually had a PR news article on them talking about kind of what Jasmy can do and how they're working with various different partners to kind of further on their projects. So you can see here, new style of support through its smartphone app to coincide with this launch and further expand our fan base while strengthening relationships. We've developed premium gift certificates with the cooperation of local businesses and companies, primarily within the prefecture. We aim to foster the growth of Sagantosu and create a vibrant community together with residents, tourists, and all visitors. So again, they're working on some of these types of things. Why this is not covered on their main accounts, I genuinely have no idea. It's quite strange to me. So we'll have to see, and again, there's, even though it's an update, there's not really a whole lot in here to give us to go off of, so we'll just have to see kind of exactly how that ends up working out. But you can see here, there is still a decent level of kind of stuff going through here that HARA is posting about, and you can see here HARA is discussing Janction with people this is actually going off of this this Janction account, which maybe this is like their new Janction account, I'm not exactly sure, but you can see here this is the Digital Hollywood University, and this was here on Friday the 26th. This is when HARA was going through and chatting. So, there definitely is some things still happening. I just think that there is a level of inactivity within the ecosystem and within the space that's quite interesting. And if you look at a lot of other crypto projects, you can see here, I just did a very simple search of Jasmy to see what's going on within the space. And what we can see is most of what we have here is all just price related. That generally, in my opinion, is not a good thing, because if all you have to talk about is price, that means nothing's really going on in the ecosystem. So I do still have some fairly major concerns here. And, again, still just going, it's all just bull posting, it's all price. Here we have finally an update about actual news going on, but you could see, kind of hopefully what I'm getting at here. Now, if we go and we look at Jasmy price, we have people trying to bull post the price, which is great, but we're not really seeing a lot of that here in reality anyway, right? So we had this little bit of a descending wedge coming here. We were ideally going to be kind of bouncing off the bottom here, but we have had kind of a couple shaky days over the past week or so of crypto, and you can kind of see that we kind of fell right out of the bottom here. We did, and we were able to kind of hit this key level of support here and at least bounce for now so far. But I will say, you know, it's very hard to say with the lack of momentum that we have going on within the Jasmy community how much further this can hold and when we start to see a kind of a turnaround. However, the thing that does keep me somewhat optimistic about Jasmy is if we go back and we look here, you could see there hasn't really been a lot of movement here in an otherwise kind of bearish or boring period. Let's not call it bearish, but let's call it boring for sure. But you can see we're still holding on to this key level of support prior to kind of the first major liftoff for Jasmy that happened in kind of that February to March of 2024 range. The thing that kind of does keep me at least somewhat intrigued by Jasmy is if you look here, the movement on Jasmy can be incredibly violent and it comes out of nowhere. And so for me, even though we haven't really seen anything too special happening for Jasmy, it's been pretty boring. There hasn't really been a lot happening here. We are holding what I would call probably the key level of support. We did break below it momentarily kind of in that March-April time frame, but we were able to kind of recapture above it pretty quickly. And then you can see we're holding a key level of support here. If we can continue to hold that key level of support, just look at how quickly this thing can just go completely parabolic. So that's kind of the only thing here, in my opinion, that does keep me somewhat optimistic is we do have plenty of options to see price turn around quickly and turn around incredibly violently. So that's one of the things that I am kind of looking at specifically. But if I am being honest, a lot of my conviction here for Jasmy has dropped. I'm not really exactly sure what they're trying to do. We've gotten no updates of how close they are to doing it. There's so many questions and not many answers in terms of what the overall status of their project is. And so this is something that I am keeping a very, very close eye on. And I just want to let you know kind of where I'm sitting. I do still think that there is a possibility for, you know, kind of some of those crazy moves for Jasmy, particularly if we do run into kind of a late season bull market. I do think that there is definitely still some opportunity there, but I do tend to have a generally more bearish view of Jasmy in the long term. So again, we'll have to see, only time will tell, and I am still holding my Jasmy, but I'm definitely not looking to be buying anymore as we do hit some of these lower levels, just because in my opinion there are just other more like stronger projects out there that I'm interested in taking a bet on. So overall, this is just my opinion. Of course, it's not financial advice. You might still believe that Jasmy is the end all be all. Do it. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what to do or how to think. These are just my perspectives, and hopefully you can use them to kind of help define your own mental model, not just blindly follow anything that I do. So that would be a horrible idea and would not recommend it. So anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, it does of course help to provide a like and a subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, just let me know. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.